Mr. Neeraj, what do you think? What are the key benefits of studying in Canada rather than a student going to UK or US or maybe Australia or New Zealand?
So you compare cost of living, you compare cost of education.
पीछे कुछ मीडिया रिपोर्ट्स के अकॉर्डिंग कि कनाडा सेफ कंट्री नहीं रहा अब या कनाडा सेफ नहीं है.
अब सिमिलर सी बात है सर, जहाँ ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन होगी वहाँ कहीं ना कहीं क्राइम परसेंटेज थोड़ा सा रहता है, बट ये पूरा ओवरऑल कनाडा का सिनेरियो नहीं है.
And can apply for a work permit?
Arts also, fine arts as well. We have a lot of programs in digital design and development. Along with that, we have programs in trades and technicals. Now all, and even in business also. So.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Kia Consultant. Here we will be talking about overseas education and especially about Canada. So today we have an industry expert with us. We have Mr. Neeraj Malik, who is an international recruiter for North Island College, which is based in British Columbia, Canada. So he's with us today, and we will be asking few questions from him, and he will be enlightening us through the atmosphere. What are the things which are going around? What is the atmosphere these days in Canada? And all about Canada and NIC today. So here we go. So, Mr. Neeraj, please let us know, why should students still think that they should be going to Canada despite of recent changes and recent visa policy changes? What do you think?
So first of all, thank you so much for having me here today. I know that this is the biggest question of the hour right now, because a lot of students have a lot of questions right now in their mind, whether if they should choose still Canada as their prime destination, or probably it is not the right time to go to Canada for their international studies. But what I have really seen from the inside is that Canada is still holding that number one position amongst all the other international destinations when it comes to international education. There are a lot of reasons that supports it. First of all, it's the world-class education that Canada supports for international students. अगर हम इसमें बात करें, जिसमें बहुत सारे टॉप नॉच इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं जो टॉप 100 रैंकिंग में वर्ल्ड में आते हैं, जिसमें बहुत सारी फेमस यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं. मैकगिल यूनिवर्सिटी है, कनकोडिया है, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ टोरंटो है. ये सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ दे कम अंडर टॉप 100 रैंकिंग एज पर द QS, एंड दे आर ऑल बेसिकली इन कैनेडा. Apart from this, if you look at any other country right now, I would still say that Canada still is very much affordable as compared to, you talk about any other destination. So affordability is second another reason that I believe that students always have as a concern when they are choosing any international destination. I know that a lot of people have, heard a lot of negative things about Canada, that, probably Canada is no longer issuing any visas or anything like that. But there is a, upside story to it also. What I really believe that everybody should understand, that the current policy changes that have come in place is to support the international students. And they are trying to manage it in a well strategic way that can welcome more international students in the coming future. If you look at the current changes, earlier there were a lot of students who were going to Canada and choosing by any general programs in Canada, and that were not supporting the labor market. Now, how do you expect that if you are going to Canada and choosing any general program, and then you further want to work after the completion of your education while getting into a work permit, and then you are hardly getting any job, and then further down the line, if you want to apply for probably for permanent residency, and you are not getting that support, so ultimately it is a challenge which is getting onto the student's future after completing 5 years in Canada, and that is a bigger problem. So in order to resolve that, the government made a lot of changes in their policy. They only allowed fewer programs that can further align with the post-study work permit rights, those who are directly aligning with their labor market. So in a way, I think it is a very direct approach that the government has made it for all the international students, that you want to come to Canada? Yes, we are welcoming you. Come to those programs which we want you to come and support us. So I think it's a good approach.
Right. Thank you so much for that. So, Mr. Neeraj, what do you think? What are the key benefits of studying in Canada rather than a student going to UK or US or maybe Australia or New Zealand? What are the key benefits which a student should be thinking of before looking for Canada?
Sure. I'll actually put my own experience forward here. When I completed my class 12th, since I'm from Chandigarh, so I had this peer pressure from my family that somebody or the the other has to go from your family out of the country to go abroad and then study, So yeah, there were a lot of choices that I had. I had Australia as my choice. I had UK also. I had or Canada as well. But when you want to select an international destination, you probably look at few factors. Then as an international student, so you compare cost of living, you compare cost of education. You also look forward to, maybe it depends upon students to student, but they also have their pathways to permanent residency. Also, they would want to get into a place where they can actually work along with their studies. So these are certain prime factors. And then if you compare, Canada still supports a lot of all these factors. When you compare it with either Australia, maybe US, UK, or maybe any other destination. Canada, if you would compare it to Australia, you can see there's a drastic percentage of difference when you pay for the cost of tuition if you are going for an undergraduate education. So the difference is almost like 50%. If you would want to compare it to US, Canada, almost like 25 to 27% more cost efficient for your undergraduate studies. And similarly, if you are going down to UK, probably your cost of living is even, like Canada is more affordable in terms of cost of living when you compare it to UK also. So these are certain factors when it comes to cost of living. But apart from this, Canada also provides you an opportunity that you can work along with your study. When you are working in when you are in your classroom, you can work up to 24 hours per week right now. And then when you are in your summer breaks or you are in your breaks, there's no restriction of hours. You can work up to full time, unlimited hours also. Apart from this, I think that Canada is very welcoming. It's multicultural. When you go to a city like Toronto, you go to a city like Vancouver or maybe Montreal, there are more than 200 nationalities, people from more than 200 nationalities who are living there and studying there. So what else do you need? It's very multicultural. It's very, the environment is very inclusive, And apart from this, yeah, I think it's still the safest amongst, when it comes to compares to the other destinations. I know that a lot of questions were there in the recent past about the student safety in Canada, but I'll be very honest, I have been to more than 40 countries, but when you go to international destination, it is your own prime responsibility when you want to talk about your own safety, And then what I have felt for Canada is, it is still amongst one of the most safest countries that I've been to. Yeah.
Right.
So these are all the factors.
Thank you so much. You just narrated a very beautiful line for a few of the students. You said that PR is still possible for those who really want to. Is it actually a truth now that someone who wants to study in Canada and he wants to stay there for the entire life or looking for permanent residency, is it still possible? What do you think?
Absolutely, yes. I again understand where this question is coming from, because a lot of people actually just think about going to Canada, but they don't really have an actual roadmap of how they can plan their education, and further down the line, how can they make their life easy if they wish to stay back in Canada and probably, follow a pathway to permanent residency. This is actually a very long thing that I can explain you, but then just to put it short, there are different provinces in Canada. Like there's British Columbia, then you have Ontario, then you have Saskatchewan, you have Manitoba, you have eastern provinces also. Now, every province in Canada offers you their own individual provincial nominee program. Now, there are multiple ways of how you can apply for permanent residency in Canada. There's PNP, there's Canadian Experience Class, there's Federal Skilled Worker, there's Federal Trade Worker, and then you have, Express Entry also. Now, this is what you need to understand, which program and which province where you are going, and then if that program that you are going for, is that really supported by that province? And if you're going to that province, which particular city are you going to? Now, this is what I actually tell a lot of my students, when they come and they tell me that I want to go to Canada and my further plan is to settle down there. And I ask them the next question, where do you want to go in Canada? They tell me, I want to go to my relative's place. Now, this is actually which is actually conflicting with their interest and with their choice of the career that they want to make in Canada. So this is where they have to streamline. Now, I understand that 95% of the students who would want to go to Canada probably would want to settle down back there only. Yeah. But then, do you think that one city or particularly one place in Canada can support all the students? Not really. Talk about India. Maybe let's assume India as one country which is offering permanent residency to foreign nationals now. And you yourself know more about geographics of how India works, correct? Now, probably if somebody has to come here for an IT program, would you want to suggest him to go to Goa? Probably. No, because you know that place is more dominated by maybe by tourism, maybe by hospitality, and maybe by some other industries. Similarly, in Canada also, you need to understand that it is not just about picking a course randomly in anywhere. It is about picking the right course in the right place, and then further down the line, it helps you to get a good job relating to your job, relating to your program, and further down the line that supports you for your permanent residency. But yeah, there are many other ways, as I told you. But yes, definitely getting a permanent residency in Canada is seamless. It is not that challenging as compared to when you talk about other countries. So still, but you need to understand the basics of how it works. Yes.
Okay. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर दैट आई एम श्योर बहुत सारे हमारे व्यूअर्स हैं, इनको ये कन्फ्यूजन थी कि पीआर हो सकता है या नहीं हो सकता है, ये काफ़ी ज़्यादा क्लैरिटी आपके उससे हुई. But I would like to go back once again to the last question which I asked, and I would like you to enhance a little more. There are a lot of parents who are still very concerned about their children कि पीछे कुछ मीडिया रिपोर्ट्स के अकॉर्डिंग कि कनाडा सेफ कंट्री नहीं रहा अब या कनाडा सेफ नहीं है. वुड यू लाइक टू हाईलाइट व्हाट इज द रियलिटी एक्चुअली?
सर ये बहुत ही कॉमन चीज़ है. अगर आप किसी भी जगह की बात करेंगे जहाँ ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन होती है, वहाँ क्राइम थोड़ा कहीं ना कहीं बढ़ता है. ठीक है. और अगर आप ये डेटा भी निकालेंगे तो ये उन शहरों की बात की जा रही है जो ज़्यादा ओवर पॉपुलेटेड शहर हैं कनाडा के, जिसमें आप चाहे आप टोरंटो की बात करो या आप वैंकूवर की बात करो या उनके नियर बाय जो कनेक्टेड सिटीज़ हैं. अब सिमिलर सी बात है सर, जहाँ ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन होगी वहाँ कहीं ना कहीं क्राइम परसेंटेज थोड़ा सा रहता है. बट ये पूरा ओवरऑल कनाडा का सिनेरियो नहीं है. अगर आप रीजन वाइज बात करें, फॉर दैट मैटर वेयर नॉर्थ आइलैंड कॉलेजेस, यू नो, सो वी आर ऑन वैंकूवर आइलैंड. सो यहाँ पर कभी भी ऐसा सच कोई चैलेंज किसी भी हमारे स्टूडेंट ने फेस नहीं किया. इनफैक्ट स्टूडेंट्स दे कम बैक टू मी एंड दे टेल मी कि आई वॉज लकी इनफ टू गेट यू नो काउंसलिंग फ्रॉम यू, दैट आई गॉट टू अ प्लेस वेयर देर आर सो नाइस पीपल. इट्स अ स्मॉलर कम्युनिटी, एवरीबडी लव्स एंड सपोर्ट ईच अदर, यू नो. सो ये डिपेंड करता है कि आप कौन से रीजन में जा रहे हैं और कौन से एरिया में जा रहे हैं. और मैं जहाँ तक समझ पा रहा हूँ, अगर कनाडा सेफ नहीं होता सर तो इतने स्टूडेंट्स वहाँ पर नहीं जाते. अगर आप अभी के करंट सिनेरियो की भी बात करेंगे, सो देयर आर मोर देन 900,000 स्टूडेंट्स हु आर करंटली स्टडिंग इन कनाडा. सो दिस मेक्स एन आइडल आंसर टू योर क्वेश्चन. आई थिंक दैट सपोर्ट्स यू नो हाउ सेफ कनाडा इज और नॉट. यस.
Thank you so much. So with the rising costs globally, do you still think Canada is still value for money?
I think it is still it holds a lot of value right now, and then if you talk about the inflation, you know, so similarly your wage rate is also increasing in Canada. So recently in July there has been an increment in the minimum wage rate also. So ऐसा नहीं है, महंगाई भी बढ़ रही है तो साथ के साथ आपका वेज रेट भी बढ़ रहा है. और कहीं ना कहीं ROI की अगर हम बात करें, सो जहाँ तक मुझे पता है सर, एटलीस्ट जब बच्चा वहाँ पर पढ़ाई कर रहा है, पढ़ाई के साथ भी उसको काम करने की फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी मिल रही है, तो जिसमें आप पार्ट टाइम भी कर सकते हैं एंड यू कैन वर्क फुल टाइम ऑल्सो. जब आप पार्ट टाइम भी करते हो तो आप उसमें अपना जो फाइनेंशियल मंथली एक्सपेंसेस हैं आप उतना बेयर कर सकते हो अगर आप चाहो तो. अगर उसको एक स्मार्ट तरीके से आप प्लान करेंगे तो आप वो बेयर बहुत आराम से कर सकते हो. और जहाँ तक बात है आपकी समर ब्रेक्स और आपकी विंटर ब्रेक्स जो आपको मिलती हैं जिसमें आप फुल टाइम काम कर सकते हो, दैट इज़ एन एड ऑन बोनस फॉर स्टूडेंट्स जिसको वो यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं टू सेव अप अ लॉट ऑफ मनी फॉर देयर प्रॉब्ली फॉलोइंग ट्यूशन फॉलोइंग ईयर्स, यू नो, फॉर देयर ट्यूशन कॉस्ट. सो दिस इज़ हाउ स्मार्टली दे कैन प्लान. और मैं अल्टीमेटली एक चीज़ और जानता हूँ सर, जब आप स्टडी कंप्लीट करते हो आपको पोस्ट स्टडी वर्क परमिट मिलता है 3 साल का. सो यू हैव इनफ टाइम टू यू नो जनरेट अ लॉट ऑफ मनी फ्रॉम दैट कंट्री. सो ROI तो डेफिनेटली निकल ही आता है. और अल्टीमेटली अगर आप किसी और पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ROI की बात करोगे तो सर जो आप डिग्रीज, आप डिप्लोमाज, आप पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट डिप्लोमाज और प्रॉब्ली गेटिंग अ मास्टर्स डिग्री, दैट इज़ वर्ल्ड वाइड रिकॉग्नाइज. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि आप अगर इंडिया भी वापस आते हो तो आपको रिकॉग्निशन नहीं मिल रहा है. दैट डिग्री इन इटसेल्फ इज़ वेरी वेल रिकॉग्नाइज्ड ऑल अराउंड इन द वर्ल्ड. सो या.
Thank you. So I have an important question for you, which probably is the last one. There are a lot of concern with parents looking at the emotional aspect. So is there emotional or academic support available for students who feel homesick or they struggle a lot of time? And another part which is related to that, so what is the role of an institution or an agent in ensuring a smooth transition, because he goes from here with a different mindset and he or she reaches Canada, there is a different atmosphere, different mindset. So please elaborate.
Yeah. So when it comes to the emotional support, there are a lot of government programs that directly or indirectly, works with the students to ensure that all the students who are living and studying in Canada are protected. So when it comes to those supports, so institutions also plays an individual role there, and also there are some government backed organizations also which make sure that students are all safeguarded. When either it is physically or mentally. Now for that matter, when you talk about institutions, so institutions have their peer tutoring centers, they have their counseling sessions, they have that mental support sessions. So they do ensure that students, if they are probably maybe I have seen a lot of students, those who are doing excellently well in academics, but they don't really gel up with a lot of other students. And when you try to understand that, there's a very thin line that disturbs the student psychic, that probably that student is not feeling well, probably because he's missing his family, or maybe he's not that getting enough emotional support. So here is where colleges, institutions play their own individual role by getting them into these counseling sessions, recreational centers, engaging them with another students from the similar region. So these are some important parts that institution play. Now also at the same time, agents definitely has a lot of role to play here, and they definitely do that. So right away from the time when they start their application, so right away when they are choosing an institution, the first point of contact is the agent, basically, who helps them in guiding them to choose the right academic path and the right institution where they can meet their academic goals. So first point of contact is agents, and then by the time college also gets into the picture, or the institution gets into the picture, by providing them the enough documentation part which is required for the visa support, and this visa support is taken care again by the agencies. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. I hope this sum up our episode for this time. Thank you so much for watching this. And if you want more videos like this, you need to click on the link below. Thank you so much.